قرآن واسق حياتي قرآن.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today we'll be learning 10 lessons from Juz 26. Let's go to our first lesson.
ويوم يعرض الذين كفروا على النار أذهبتم طيباتكم في حياتكم الدنيا واستمتعتم بها فاليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تستكبرون في الأرض.
The first lesson we learned from this juz is never spend all your money on worldly things. There is nothing wrong in using Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings. However, one must be mindful that he does not get engrossed in worldly affairs and forgets the hereafter, or merely for the worldly wealth smashes others' rights.
فلا تهنوا وتدعوا إلى السلم وأنتم الأعلون والله معكم ولن يتركم أعمالكم.
The second lesson we learn from this juz is not to be lenient with the enemy. A believer is never lenient and coward in front of the enemy. One must stand against the enemy and strive for oppressed rights. However, if peace treaty is made between them on basis of equality and justice, then there is nothing wrong with this act and it's recommended in Islam. After peace treaty, one must always keep their eyes on the enemy as they are not always loyal.
إن الذين يبايعونك إنما يبايعون الله يد الله فوق أيديهم فمن نكث فإنما ينكث على نفسه.
The third lesson we learn from this juz is allegiance with the godly leaders at the time of peace. Verses 10 to 18 in this surah refer to treaty of Hudaybiyah, in which Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had signed a treaty with mushriks based on a strategy. We understand that this treaty was not a sign of defeat, but it was purely for expedience, as Prophet, the leader, had done it with his wisdom. What we learn here is we need to stand with our leaders, the Hujjat of Allah, and respect their decisions. In history, there is one more treaty which Imam Hassan alayhi salam had to sign because his followers did not stand with him and started questioning his wisdom.
محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم.
The fourth lesson we learn from this juz is to be kind and lenient with believers and hard and strict with the enemies. A believer deals politely with the other believers and is strict against the kafir harbi. Kafir harbi is he who is against Islam and Islamic government and who is either in the state of war or ready to fight Muslims. This does not include person who is from other faith. Therefore, we learn from this verse that the mu'mineen within themselves, they are merciful, but with the enemies who are against Islam and are in the state of war with the Muslims, they are not lenient, rather they are hard and strict with the enemies.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين.
The fifth lesson we get from this juz is to cross-check the words of hypocrite. A believer should be responsible and always verify the news he hears before spreading it. In other words, he would never spread the news which is false or not authentic. It is our responsibility to be aware of the media where there are so many news and rumors, so one must be very careful in spreading the news or words without research.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكن خيرا منهن.
The sixth lesson we learn from this juz is do not tease find faults, mock or give inappropriate names to others. A believer never makes fun of others, never finds others' faults, and never calls others with a bad name or title. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have believed. Then Allah is saying, let not a people ridicule and other people. Perhaps they may be better than them, nor let women ridicule other women, perhaps they may be better than them. And then Allah is saying, and do not insult one another, and do not call each other by nicknames.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا.
The seventh lesson we learn from this juz is avoid suspicion, spy and backbite. A believer never involves in any of these three. That is, suspicion, spying and backbiting. These three bad habits have been mentioned together as first, suspicion comes along with spying, which leads to backbiting. From this verse we learn a person who backbites is like a person who eats the flesh of his dead brother. Therefore, a mu'min stays away from suspicion, spy and backbiting.
يمنون عليك أن أسلموا قل لا تمنوا علي إسلامكم بل الله يمن عليكم أن هداكم للإيمان إن كنتم صادقين.
The eighth lesson we learn from this juz is to know we are in debt towards Allah and His religion. A believer always feel grateful and in debt for being blessed with the Islamic faith. This verse was revealed when few Muslims felt they were doing a great favor by following the religion. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarifies that it's Him who has done a favor on believers by guiding them to the right path. Never feel that you are doing a favor by your ibadat or your azadari.
ألقيا في جهنم كل كفار عنيد مناع للخير معتد مريب.
The ninth lesson we learn from this juz is not to hinder in righteous works. Believer always wants to do righteous work. If he cannot do and someone else is doing, he tries to help and encourage them. This verse is about the kuffar who used to hinder others from doing righteous work. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, لعن الله قاطعي سبيل المعروف. قيل وما قاطعي سبيل المعروف؟ قال الرجل يصنع إليه المعروف فيكفر فيمنع صاحبه من أن يصنع ذلك إلى غيره. The gist of the hadith is, may Allah remove His blessings from the person who hinders others from doing good. It was asked, who are these people? Imam answered, it refers to the person, even though good is done, he is ungrateful and in return he will hinder other person from helping others and doing good deed.
وَبِالْأَسْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ.
The last lesson we learn from this juz is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness at the time of Sahar. Believer understands the importance of this time, of the time of Sahar. He does istighfar, he refreshes and cleanses his soul. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has specifically mentioned to ask for forgiveness during the time of Sahar. We should try to make use of this time. Let's try to wake up few minutes before Fajr to get the thawab and get that spirituality at the time of Sahar. These were the 10 lessons. Inshallah, we'll come again with the next 10 lessons of the next years. Till then, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
رحمن يا رحمن ساعدني يا رحمن اشرح صدري قرآن املأ قلبي قرآن